Okay, so the Eagles' playoff matchup with the Rams is almost here, and just ahead of the game, the Birds got a couple of pretty unexpected developments, starting with the fact that an exciting rookie looks set to possibly get his first real start. So why is this the right choice for Philly? Meanwhile, the Eagles just got some news on tight end Dallas Goedert that, while not horrible, isn't exactly ideal. Plus, the Birds just gained another advantage over the Rams that could wind up being huge, while Saquon Barkley seems set up to have a big day, and the Eagles have the edge in multiple other key areas. So we're going to talk about all that and everything else leading into the Eagles' divisional matchup with the Rams starting right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Philly Fan 21 channel. If you're new, I'm Evan, and I cover all things Philadelphia Eagles. And it's time to get excited, because the Birds are set to take on the Rams in the divisional round in just a couple of days, and the stakes are super high, as obviously there's a trip to the NFC Championship on the line, so safe to say both teams are going to be fired up for this one, and it's just going to be a really fun battle. But before we dive headfirst into that matchup, I do want to take a minute to talk about something that's much more important, as obviously what's going on right now with the wildfires in LA is nothing short of a tragedy, as that community has just been completely devastated by what's happened, and many people have just lost so much to these fires. So the least we can do, regardless of what team we're supporting, is to come together and do what we can to help. And some Eagles fans have already done that by starting a GoFundMe to help provide some relief to LA amidst the fires, and they've already raised a ton of money, so I'll put the link down in the description of this video if you guys do want to go donate to that. But now, getting back to the Eagles and Rams matchup, like I said, it's just going to be a really fun battle between two good football teams. Now, obviously, the last time these two teams met, it was a pretty one-sided affair, as on Sunday Night Football, the Eagles dominated the Rams thoroughly on both sides of the ball on their way to a 37-20 victory in Week 12. That said, the Rams have been red hot ever since that game, as excluding their regular season finale where it was just backups playing, they've gone undefeated down the stretch, including the playoffs. And specifically on defense, they have really turned things around, as they're now playing like one of the best units in the league, and over the past 4 games with the starters specifically, they've been particularly impressive, as LA has allowed just a mere 8.3 points per game in that stretch, and that includes obviously a dominant 9-sack performance against the Vikings in the wildcard round. So yeah, safe to say they've been pretty impressive. That said, while the Eagles know that and respect the Rams defense for what they've done, they don't seem to be too worried about it. And some recent comments from left tackle Jordan Mailata only back that up.
I say they have a very disciplined defensive front. They have great guys up front too. So for us, we just have to, it's never about worrying about what they're going to do. We always preach about worrying about doing your job, and that's what we're going to do. You know, we can watch all the film that we want, but once we get out there on the field, they could either do something different, or they could stick to the script, what they put on film, and then it's a reaction game. You know, again, I'm not going to gas them up that much. You know, I can't do that. Like, I think we have a good system here as well, and we got great players, and they got great. It's good on good. They got great players, and they got a great rush scheme as well. So, you know, we see that on film, and we have to do a good job of stopping that.
Mailata definitely has good reason to be confident in this matchup, despite how good LA's defensive front has been, because obviously, like he said, the Eagles have great players too, and the last time these two teams met, the Birds' offensive line did a pretty good job of handling LA's defensive line, as in the past game, the Rams were only able to muster 1 sack, while in the run game, it was just total domination for the Birds.
All I can say is I hope the Rams have been in the weight room since this last game. Watch this dude right here. God, dog.
This is definitely a game where I think the Birds should have a ton of success on the ground. I mean, again, we all saw what happened the last time these two teams met in LA, as the Eagles' offensive line bullied the Rams' front, and Saquon Barkley went off for a career-high and franchise record 255 yards on the ground, while the Birds had 314 rushing yards total against a Rams defense that, despite their late improvement, wound up finishing 22nd against the run. So, again, even though the Rams defense has improved since then, I don't see any reason why Saquon Barkley and the Eagles' O-line won't have another successful day. And quite frankly, they're likely going to need to in this one, as with a high chance of heavy snow in the forecast, that means that both teams will probably have to pass less and run more. And as I talked about in my video yesterday, I see this as a huge advantage for the Birds, because not only has their run game just been dominant all year, but Philly is also obviously much more accustomed to playing out in the cold and in bad weather than the Rams, who play their home games in the Dome. And on top of that, the Eagles also just got another advantage leading into this potential snow game, as during Thursday's practice, they had the opportunity to kind of acclimate to playing in the freezing cold and slightly snowy weather. And despite the experience being probably pretty miserable for the players, it's one that Jordan Mailata says was very valuable.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was miserable. It's miserable, I'm not gonna lie. But as one of the advantages of playing at home, you've got to get used to this weather. And for it to be very consistent weather. It's good for us. But then again, it's whoever shows up on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, like Mailata said, obviously, it's ultimately going to be about who executes better, but still, being able to get this experience practicing in the snow and the cold elements is only going to help the Birds be more prepared for the harsh conditions on Sunday, especially when you take a look at the conditions for the Rams during practice, as it seems to be pretty sunny and nice weather over there. So, again, there is no denying that this is just one more thing that gives the Eagles an edge. But now, real quick, I have a big announcement for you guys, as these t-shirts, which I've dubbed the 55 Legend Tees, are now finally available on my official merch shop, so that'll be linked down in the description in some way, and you can also find my shop by going to my YouTube channel page and clicking on the store tab. But yeah, I know I made you guys wait a long time for these, but they're now out, probably for just a limited time, and in 5 different color options. So if you're interested, you can go and get your 55 Legend Tees now. But now, moving on, when you talk about the Rams defense, one of the scariest guys they have is the rookie Jared Verse. As the edge rusher out of FSU has been on an absolute tear this season, he's probably going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he also somehow pancaked Jordan Mailata on one particular play. So despite the Birds doing a pretty good job containing him the last time, aside from that play, he's still a guy that they gotta watch out for. And both Eagles tackles in Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson know that they're in for a tough matchup.
What do I remember? It feels like you set me up, Elliot. Golly. I remember when I got flat backed. That's what I remember. It was a good rush by him. But, like I said, it's gone good. I think he plays well. He plays hard. He's got some great moves. But, yeah, there's one thing I remember. It's him getting one on me. But to be fair, I got a couple on him too, so I'm going to say that.
He's still bull rushing and people, so man, he's got a tremendous get off. He plays hard. Really has come along in the run game too. So he's just one of those players that obviously really talented, but the more experience he gets, the better he's going to become.
As good as Verse is on his own, probably the scariest part about the Rams defensive front is that they just have so many different guys who can produce, whether it's Kobe Turner or Braden Fisk or Byron Young. Like, there's just a lot to account for there, so the Eagles' entire O-line is going to have to be ready. That said, as I said before, obviously I got confidence in Philly's big guys up front to get the job done once again, and hopefully they're able to shut down the Rams front and Verse, who, by the way, ripped Philly fans this week, saying, quote, "I hate Eagles fans. They're so annoying. I hate Eagles fans. When I see that green and white, I hate it. I actually get upset. I actually genuinely get hot." So hopefully the Eagles can shut him up. And for the Philly fans going to the game, make sure you guys let Verse hear it. And then moving back in the Rams defense, they did just get a positive injury update in the secondary ahead of this matchup, as even though starting corner Ahkello Witherspoon has now missed significant practice time this week with a thigh injury, head coach Sean McVay says that he expects him and all the other guys listed on the Rams injury report to play on Sunday. So that's definitely a good thing for LA, as Witherspoon has been important to their success this year. That said, AJ Brown absolutely torches this guy every time they match up, so I expect no different in this one. Meanwhile, with the Eagles' latest injury report, they just got a surprising update of their own that isn't exactly ideal. But real quick, before we get into that, I do want to ask that if you haven't done so already, then please subscribe and also turn on notifications so you do not miss any of the pretty much daily Eagles coverage I got coming throughout these playoffs. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like as well, because it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 700 likes on today's video. And now, with all that being said, let's get back into the video. So the good news for the Eagles is that all is well on the injury front, but the bad news is that one of their key offensive players has come down with an illness ahead of the matchup with the Rams, and I'm talking about none other than the tight end Dallas Goedert, who missed practice on Thursday because he was sick. So this obviously definitely is not ideal, as Goedert just got back a couple of games ago after missing a ton of time with the knee injury, so you hate for him to even have to miss practice time at all. That said, Goedert returned to practice today, and even if he hadn't, I highly doubt that an illness that he came down with on Thursday was going to stop him from playing in a playoff game on Sunday. So expect Goedert to be out there, hopefully making plays and possibly snagging a record, as he needs just 2 more touchdowns to tie Harold Carmichael for the most receiving touchdowns in Eagles playoff history. Meanwhile, Devontae Smith also has a chance at a franchise record, as he needs just 6 more receiving yards to surpass Harold Carmichael for the most receiving yards in Eagles playoff history. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm certainly expecting that to happen, so that's definitely really exciting. That said, while I am expecting the Eagles to be a little more in rhythm than last week, I'm certainly not expecting a huge day through the air from Jalen Hurts and the guys, simply because of the elements that they're likely going to be playing in. And I think for the Rams offense, that's probably going to be a big storyline to watch, as obviously a lot of their offensive success this season has come through the air and in the pass game, with star quarterback Matthew Stafford throwing to the dangerous duo of Kupp and Puka Nacua. So if the weather is in fact horrible in this game, then that's only going to make things harder for them. Not to mention that the Eagles already have the #1 ranked pass defense anyways, so I think this is yet another area where the Birds could have the edge. However, there is one area where the Eagles could be vulnerable on defense, and that is of course at the linebacker position opposite Zack Baun. As with Nakobe Dean out, the Birds are going to be relying on one of or a combination of the backups to step up and fill that void. And somewhat unexpectedly from where things sat earlier in the week, with the week now almost over, it seems like there's a solid chance that it could in fact be the rookie Jeremiah Trotter Jr. who takes the majority of the snaps at that spot. And if this is what ends up happening, then the good news is that the guys all around him seem very, very confident in his ability, plus he seems very confident in himself too.
Yeah, Trotter's definitely ready.
How do you know that?
Because I'm practicing with him. I'm playing with him. Yeah, he's been ready for a long time now. He's really excited, and I'm excited for him and Orrin.
Yeah, I think Trot's got a good future, and that future may be now. He's got good instincts. Really likes the game. He's smart. He's got a lot of good qualities.
It definitely means a lot. Just Coach Fangio saying that about me, and this shows the confidence that he has in my abilities, and knowing that your coach believes in you and believes that you can get the job done, especially when right now when the team needs it. When my dog with Nakobe out, sadly I'm gonna be praying for him a speedy recovery. But just having that confidence from coach, it definitely means a lot. Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm ready, prepared every single week, kind of like I was gonna start. I try to make sure I'm always on top of on top of what I need to do as far as mentally and preparation-wise. And I just try to look up to, the veterans and see how they prepare as well. And, that's really all you can do. And I just have full faith in God, that he'll be with me and just guide me out there on the field.
I don't know about you guys, but personally, I am super excited to see Trot Jr. get his big opportunity. As not only has he flashed in limited opportunities this season, but there's also a reason that everybody seems so confident in him, including, of course, defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, who we know was spot on in his assessments of Zack Baun, Nakobe Dean, and even Devin White this year. Plus, he is also incredibly honest, so for him to say something like that about Trotter, I think is very telling. Plus, if you look at the tape from the very small number of reps that Trot got in the Rams game back in Week 12, he looks pretty impressive and better than Oren Burks. So, again, personally, I'm excited to see what he can do if he does in fact get a lot of defensive snaps in this game. And overall, I'm just super excited about this game, as again, I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. The stakes are obviously super high with the trip to the NFC Championship on the line, so I'm pretty fired up, and you guys already know that I'm going to pick the Eagles to win, this time by a score of 31-22. That said, what do you guys think? Give me your score predictions down in the comments below, and also while you're at it, make sure you guys subscribe, and again, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and also make sure you drop a like as well to show some support if you did enjoy this video. Again, it really does help me out a ton. Let's see if we can get to 700 likes today. Also, again, make sure you guys check out the 55 Legend Tee. Those are probably only going to be available for a limited time. So again, if you're interested, those are available now. And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can go check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.